just a name. What matters is the fire, the heart that name. You walk with wisdom, steady and true. A living lesson in all that you do. You study the giants, stood on the ground. Benny, Clark, and Jeffries, the wisdom you found. You read the past like a lantern's glow. Then turn that light so the young ones know. Dr. Reggie, we celebrate you. A master teacher, shining through. Living treasure, deep and kind. You lift the people, mind by mind. Oh, Dr. Reggie, hear the praise. Your legacy lives in 1,000 ways. Respect to the elder, strong and free. You are a beacon for the world to see. In history, religion, culture too. You uncover truth and make it new. A researcher sharp with a patient hand, building bridges across the land. You speak with honor, calm and clear, and every room leans in to hear. You carry knowledge like a well-worn flame, passing it onward in your name. Dr. Reggie, we celebrate you. A master teacher, shining through, living treasure, deep and kind. You lift the people, mind by mind. Oh, Dr. Reggie, hear the praise. Your legacy lives in 1,000 ways. Respect to the elder, strong and free. You are a beacon for the world to see. Oh, not the title, but the way you live. Teach with grace, you lead with sight, turning all truths into guiding light. Dr. Reggie, we celebrate you, a master teacher, shining through, living treasure, deep and kind. You lift the people, mind by mind. For the world to see. Doctor, brother, it's just a name. What matters is the fire, the heart that name. You walk with wisdom, steady and true. A living lesson in all that you do. You study the giants, stood on the ground. Benny, Clark, and Jeffries, the wisdom you found. You read the past like a lantern's glow. Then turn that light so the young ones know. Dr. Reggie, we celebrate you. A master teacher, shining through, living treasure, deep and kind. You lift the people, mind by mind. Oh, Dr. Reggie, hear the praise. Your legacy lives in 1,000 ways. Respect to the elder, strong and free. You are a beacon for the world to see. In history, religion, culture too. You uncover truth and make it new. A researcher sharp with a patient hand, building bridges across the land. You speak with honor, calm and clear, and every room leans in to hear. You carry knowledge like a well-worn flame, passing it onward in your name. Shining through, living treasure, deep and kind. You lift the people, mind by mind.
Peace to the family. Hope that you can hear me. If you can hear me, press 1. I would appreciate it. I hope everybody got their tickets. The tickets, certainly for the online, is still open. I think I'm that the in person is filling up soon. This is going to be my last appearance uh, to the debate on Saturday. So I have a few hours tonight, and then I'm gonna get some rest. And then I have tomorrow to finish up round 3. My camera looks blurry. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Is it the whole camera? Because it's on 1080p. So sorry about that, Mr. Freeze. Um, this is going to be a big fight. Um, but this fight has been uh, I don't know. This fight started about 6 or 7 years ago, uh, and it gradually increased. And what this fight is about is Kemet, KM.T, versus Kemetic, New Age African American, what they call restoration of Ma'at. So they are restoring Ma'at. So my opponent is saying that they are restoring Ma'at, that they are the ones chosen to restore Ma'at, that they have the best knowledge. They really know now, uh, Kemetic, Kemetic knowledge. The picture that I'm showing is probably maybe maybe one of the earliest pictures where you see Brother Reggie in the back. Uh, Brother Reggie is in the back. I'm the furthest one in the back. And all of these gentlemen right now, or if there's one that I know is still on the planet, besides the brother that's standing next to me. Up front and center is the man that gave us all of this start, this knowledge, this start. His name is Dr. Joseph uh, Alfredo Alfonso Ben Jocannon, Dr. Joseph Ben A.A. Jocannon. And he wrote a series of books, including his foremost book, Black Man of Denial, but another very important book, The Temple of Apple Symbol, Africa, Mother of Western Civilization. And he gave us the start by taking people, our community in the 70s, to Nile Valley, to the Nile Valley. So it wasn't limited just to what we call Kemet, but it was the whole Nile Valley. Behind him is Dr. Jacob Carruthers. Dr. Jacob Carruthers trained as a lawyer uh, who left that to teach African education, founded the Kemetic Institute of Chicago, and also founded a kind of a more formal educational center. Next to him is Dr. Maulana Karenga. You know many things about Dr. Maulana Karenga, but you don't know really his expertise on the Nile Valley. The two of them uh, formed the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization, uh, based on the work of Dr. Joseph Ben Jocannon and Dr. John Henry Clark and other elders, uh, Leo Hansberry, uh, Dr. Diop, Sheikh Anta Diop, Dr. Theophilo Banga, Antonin Furman, and many, many greats that kind of introduced the subject in the 18th and 19th century. Antonin Furman was an ambassador of Haiti when Haiti was free, and he went to Egypt And he was probably one of the first people to come back and say this was a black civilization. Um, then that opened up later the French African school and interest, which exploded around someone called Alion Diop, who was a mentor of Dr. Shakata Diop. And it's through that movement that Dr. Diop was introduced. And then later in 1959, Dr. Leonard Jeffries made it to um, France and met Dr. Shakanta Diop and Dr. Clark. I had so much great interest in Dr. Shakanta Diop's work that he was the one who told us about Dr. Diop. It was Dr. John Henry Clark. And his premier book, African Origin of Civilization, that he published after well, during the time that he was a PhD student earlier in 56, where he had to defend his PhD twice. First time they wouldn't even hear it, the African Origin of Civilization. The second time he was able to prevail. What you know of him is the 1974 UNESCO conference where him and Dr. Theophilo Banga took on the world on whether or not ancient Egypt was an African civilization. It was in that conference that we uh, began to focus on this word KM.T. Two versions of it. One version, uh, we could say, dealt with the land. That's um, well, I want to say not just the land. Let me clarify that. The city, right? The community. Um, we will be having more discussions with Ankh because Ankh believes, of course, that it means the black land, and that might turn into a debate. I don't know if I'm going to take the debate. I doubt it. This probably will be my last debate, but I probably work with someone who will take up that debate on whether Kemet, when it relates to a topography, is the black land or something else. The data says, and the text says that it's not the black land. The text says that it's the black city and something else that we will talk about later. This word Kemet came about somewhere around the 11th dynasty with King Keti giving advice to his heir, Merikari. And then during that period, Kemet might have been a honorific uh, city or territory under King Keti. Um, Later on, you have, of course, Tameri um, coming in, and so during the period of Sin you see prominently Tameri and you see Kemet. Now, there's another word of that people call Kemet. I don't think it's Kemet. I think it's Kimwet, and that deals exactly with the people and how they pushed in Kemet, Kimwet, Kim, the blackness. My work is primarily that it was not per se skin color, but in reference to the sacred black cattle, which they uh, singled out and made important. Uh, and I got to work with my old computer science degree that my opponent says that is worthless. I got to work using my old computer science degree on Civilization of Barbarism that was being translated by Yalinghi Ngemi, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, with Dr. Clark as the lead, to uh, from French to English. And it was one of the first publications in our community that was published on a computer, not on a Selectric typewriter. That's my start. And then it was ASCAT conferences for many years. 86, and 86, I went to West Africa, but 87, I went to the Nile Valley and Brother Reggie at the conference of Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization took the stage. Young Brother Reggie took the stage and spoke on the big stage in Aswan, Egypt. That's my origins. That's who I am. That's my work. So it goes back to at least 85, 84, and 83. I was definitely in the Department of Black Studies. I was a son of Africa. However, it was 86 and 87 that my life really began to change. Today, we are having this conversation that will happen on Saturday on whether or not the neter rule or real. For the ancient Egyptians, for over 4,000 years, counting the pre-dynastic period, the early period, we're talking about Nubia A and Nakata 1, 2, and 3, which was 3 is the dynasty 0. This particular civilization not worshipped, that's a bad word, honored neters. That was their formulation, and it came about from earlier cultures in the Western Sahara, meaning the people of Nata Playa, who were most likely people who had lived in the Green Sahara, and material or thinking from what we call Nubia. We call it, but it's really Nehes, and you know it as Taseti. And then there is a mention of sa.neter, the land of the gods. So during this period, I'm going to keep time because I'm not going to be on long. During this time period, the notion of whether we should worship religiously came. And certainly this in our communities, it was kind of started earlier with Ra.neter. Ra.neter, you can attribute a Sarset society as one of the beginnings of this kind of spiritual, to me, New Age connection of or mixture of Nile Valley and these other esoterical sciences. And with these esoterical sciences, what it did was it invaded KM.T, and you hear a lot of the words from the esoteric society. My opponent, he credits Osiris Set, and he credits an important figure in this mixture, which is Rene, I think Adolphe Swala de Lubitz. He wrote this book called The Temple of Man. And it is in that book, in The Temple of Man, that we find out that the neters are not real. Well, no, the neters are real, just in thought, but not actual. What they actually are forces and energy. So that doctrine, everybody read The Temple of Man, began to fuse those ideas into KM.T studies. And then that allowed a lot of outsiders to come in and to refashion and change the dictionaries, or not the dictionaries per se, but to avoid the dictionaries. And so we have esoteric Kemetism in our midst. This debate that we are dealing with tomorrow, Saturday, is dealing with whether we can keep km.t, kemet, pure. Can we let the ancestors speak? In the esoteric community, it's new thought, new age thought. It's not uh, what the ancients believed. I'm going to, a lot of you are not familiar with R.A. Where is he? Let's see, Swallowed the Lubitz. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a reaction video. I'm going to do a reaction video, and so let me put my banner up because this does not belong to us, and I want to do kind of a reaction video to this. So I want to thank everybody that's in the building. I certainly want to thank everybody that bought the tickets. And what I am saying is King Hercules got, of course, King Hercules would have the book, Temple of Man, because that deals with the sacred geometry, or how can I say better, interpretations that there was sacred geometry, right, in the Nile Valley, right? Now, um, we have, of course, some evidence in their uh, archaeology that of their measurements, but it was within their own culture. Um, it was not necessarily what modern interpretations say it is. Uh, no, Dr. Jahi Issa. Peace, Dr. Jahi Issa. That's Dr. Jahi Issa, a real doctor, Howard graduate with a PhD. Um, uh, no, didn't finish. Looked at the work, didn't finish it. But someone like Dr. Jahi Issa, these young people, when they were in the studies, they wanted to be just like Dr. John Henry Clark. They wanted to be like the greats. They didn't want to be like uh, R.A. Swallow de Lubitz. They didn't want to be a Western academic. They want to be an African academic. And shout out to him. So let me play parts of Swallow the Lubitz. Now, Swallow the Lubitz is someone that I don't credit as a mentor. I don't credit him with my work. My opponent does. My opponent credits this, and because it nicely fits with what this New Age African comedic community, where they can bring in everything. So let's just talk a little bit about Swallow the Lubitz from a video that was done on him. I have a lot. I can do 2 hours, but I'm only going to be on for about maybe now 45 minutes or so. Because I want you to buy the tickets, and this is my last appearance. And I want to tell you why I'm taking this debate. I'm taking this debate because my opponent said the neters are real. They're not literal. They're not actual. We're talking about how forces and energy work in the universe, and we have given them a name. Now, I couldn't get the whole debate on that. So it was drummed down to the part that's really interesting, or the neters neteru literal. Well, my challenge has always been is that how could you use an English word to dismantle 4,000 years of African culture uh, and attack the concept, uh, the belief of the neters and the neterus, if you even know the definition of it? How could you even attack that? Why attack that? Why attack that now? He believes that he can attack it now because he's the Himnechatepi. He's the high priest, the Kemetic high priest. Well, he's Kemetic high priest of his shrine, but there are still other people in this community that are alive, and they are elders, and they were trained differently. And so this is what this thing is about, this topic. How everybody believes he will mop the floor with me. Yes, he's a great debater. Yes, he's forceful, right? But the the problem with all of what you think he is his own biography. Who are his mentors? And you will see a little bit of that tomorrow, only in the context of why he arrives to the position that he arrives. So he, you believe that he's going to mop the floor with me. You believe that he's such an expert debater. Brother Reggie's style is, I'm not a debater, but I have debated. Right. Brother Reggie's style is pure research. So I'm going to let the ancestors speak, and I'm going to let other great Western uh, thinkers who studied the field, who are credited to show you what they said. These are the people who wrote books, articles, journal articles, right? These are the people who taught in academia. And I have both African and Western scholars that agree with me. Who he has is the esoteric, the metaphysical, the mystic community, and the people that don't know agree with him. And so behind the curtain, this is what this is really about. So let's do a little bit about uh, Luxor Temple and Swallowed the Lubitz. And this is a reaction video for YouTube. I'm only playing this as a reaction, just to talk about it. So, let me just stop sharing and make sure the audio is shared. So let me just reshare it. 1 second. There you go. So what do you think about what I'm saying? As I get ready to share this, what do you think about what I'm saying? Do we forget the people who brought Kemet to us? And do we reconstruct it based on esoteric, metaphysical? Uh, or is that fine with you? It's not fine with me, right? So that's what's behind the curtain. So I think I'm sharing it. And so let me see what your comments are. Yeah, I am promoting. I do want people to come out. I do want to be on the record. I want to encourage people that have long studied the field in our community to see the difference between a religious shrine that they call spiritual versus academic and African centered education. Okay, here we go.
This is where Schwaller did all of his work. And when he got here in 1937, he was already thinking that the key to the Western Hermetic sciences, of which he was a master, he was actually a practicing alchemist, not many of those around these days.
So, someone who my opponent holds dear was a practicing alchemist.
And he gradually came to understand over the course of many years of study that Egypt was probably the origin of these Hermetic sciences that percolated down through the Renaissance and which don't get an awful lot of press. I mean, most of the great figures of the Renaissance were much more interested in magic and astrology and number symbolism and alchemy than they were in developing what subsequently became contemporary science.
So in the early period, they was interested in magic and mysticism, more so than actual what became the study of ancient Egypt.
Crawler got here in 37. He was looking for something, one thing specifically. He was looking to see if the Egyptians knew about the golden section, Phi. And he was lucky because there was a French archaeological mission working there at the time with a surveying team busy measuring the temple to the millimeter. So he had absolutely exact measures and proportions to work with. Well, measures, actually. He worked out the proportions himself. Within about a month, it became clear to him that they knew the golden section, employed it. They knew the diatonics seven-tone scale, and they employed.
Did the African know all of this? Or did the African build to their culture with what they call equal or excellence, and then later people came back and interpreted it? And so this is the Tekenu, and in one of the videos I can show my opponent's shrine, walking around it and blessing it. But this is the Tekenu. You can see this in Kemet. You could see this facsimile in Washington, D.C. You could see it in Central Park. But all throughout Kemet, you can see Tekenus.
Employed it in the measures and proportions of the temple in a manner far more sophisticated than anything the Greeks would subsequently do. So this was the big revelation. Actually, before he even started looking for the golden section, he walked through and had what scientists call a hypothesis formation, and artists call an inspiration, and mystics call a revelation, and what that.
And the Shrine of Ma'at calls it restoration. All words that are actually useless, but you have to pay attention when things are changing. So this is Schwaller de Lubitz. Let's finish.
Was that the strange temple with its skewed axis.
Now, one of the things that they're not saying is that it's an African civilization, because in this period, they didn't believe that it was the African on the continent of Africa that built these great temples and statues and structures. It wasn't African. So they took great interest in it, and then they found out.
Really quite asymmetric form was in fact an exercise in harmony and proportion, and that's when he started looking for the golden section, found it, and then one thing led to another. The discovery of the golden section led him to work out the proportions, and the proportions to deal with the measures, and the measures with the harmonies, and as he.
So one of the things, I'll move it back, with esoteric people is that they are going to describe the temples, the pylons. They're going to describe all of that, but they're not going to try to read any of the writing, right? So the people who study the language, right, what they do is they start looking at the writing. So I don't look at the symbols that is marked out of the face of this king. I start looking at the writing and saying, maybe what does it say from a skill level, not from spirituality, because spirituality is not going to help me. What's going to help me is a skill set. So I'm just going through this, and I say, okay, what does it say? Give to the Lord of all the lands, right? And on the bottom is the all the lands, and then that includes the hill countries, right? And there is a lot of plurals because they're talking about all, right? So given to the person all the lands, all the lands, including foreign lands. So there's a lot of Nebus in it. You see Nebu twice, all the land, all for all, and then you see the Lord of all the lands. So my scope is a little bit different. The esoterics, what they would do is touch it and walk around it with an incense burner and say fancy things, be very articulate. Notice, look, and she has an ankh in her hand. But what about this right here? Now, my opponent says, this is allegory, family. This is divine mythology. Then you say that it's real, but it's not actual, family, right? It's not. And this person right here, who is a king, right? Is this king a neter? We'll find out. Okay, so let's finish with swallow it a little bit.
As he developed it, these things led him to the astronomy and the medicine and the mythology and the symbolism. By the time he was finished, he stayed there 15 years until just before the revolution of 52. He had put together this total reinterpretation of the whole Egyptian doctrine.
So his interpretation becomes the Egyptian doctrine, right? This is swallowed the lubits, and this is the esoterics, and this is given us so 70 years ago, right? So this is Egypt to them. And to my opponent,
she called the sacred science. In fact, it had been called that by the Renaissance magi themselves, and published first a small, let's say, precursor book in the late in the 40s. Most of the edition was destroyed in an earthquake, good luck. And this was a precursor, a single book called The Temple in Man, a small volume. But that was really, as it were, the trailer for his massive, originally 3-volume work called The Temple of Man. And that's where he laid out the doctrine and the evidence and the massive amount.
So he lays out his doctrine in massive amounts. Now, this, because it's new information, it was exciting. It went through the African community. But the African community, it's easier to talk about what a symbol is than to use dictionaries to find out how they used it in the language.
The documented evidence that he had put together. And of course, this went down with the academics like a lead balloon. And I think I mentioned this the other day, that the reaction to it was a combination of horror and abuse. The head of the French archaeological mission or Egyptological mission in Cairo advised his colleagues in print to erect a common wall of silence around this work, which is, it's wonderful to find them actually coming out with things like that. This is what, what the...
So when he did, when it took popularity, there was pushback on it because it's not what Egyptology had studied, and they had very good reason to say that it was fringe. So immediately it was pushed back, and a lot of the critiques on it that was pushed back was, where's the language? These are interpretations from one man. So today we have Jabariism. Jabariism, all of a sudden, Jabariism, though we can't see early pictures of him interacting, because in the early periods he was just a student of brother, elder ancestor Samaj. He was a student in Ra'u Nefer, right? That's where his studies, but he wasn't important until Baba Heru became aged and allowed him to separate from the shrine of Ptah. And Elder Samaj, the ancestor, he was the chief priest of the shrine of Ptah, and my opponent becomes the high priest of his shrine. Chief priest, somewhat humble, of the African-American, African-Caribbean shrine of Ptah, to becoming the high priest, the Tepi.
What academics normally do, but it's rare that they acknowledge it. And they didn't quite get away with it because a few people, myself included, realized that Schwaller had done something of immense importance. In fact, I mean, in my view, my personal view, is that this is the single most important work of scholarship in Western history, because...
So this speaker believes that this is the single most important work in Western civilization, not African civilization, Western civilization. Okay.
In fact, it reestablished, well, both the reality and the manner in which it worked.
So the reality, so it's real.
Worked of the ancient sacred science, and it's that.
Now we hear this word sacred science. Ooh, sacred science. Um, well, um, these are fancy words used to draw you in, but the real science is the written language that survives if the culture does not survive, and what was given or borrowed from other cultures. Now, the issue is when the Himnetchatepi says that it's real, but it's not literal, it's not actual, then he can no longer say that the Christians and the other groups stole uh, from something that may be real but not really actual and not literal, and are forces and energy. And so that's my concern. And so that's why I believe that if you look back at all of his debates against the Christians and the Hebrews, the Muslims, the Israelites, that what he is saying is that what he's well, anything with the Neteru, which was the basis of these civilizations, and then we have Dr. Jahi Issa, who studied African uh, culture, religion, and spirituality. And I'm not gaslighting you, but I'm giving you tribute that they are in stools. What I mean by stools, they are in societies that um, that are part of a living culture of West Africa, the Akans, and so they pour libations. They get up in the morning. Uh, they go to the oceans, the seas, uh, or the sun, and what they do is they give homage to the entities behind that or in front of that. I'll say behind, because when we look at the sun and we see the energy of the sun, it's not the sun that they give homage to. They give homage to who created the sun. When they go to the oceans, they don't worship the ocean. They worship the entities that created the oceans, that provided the fish and the other things within the ocean for its purpose. They give homage to human beings, to their ancestors. They don't do symbolism. They don't do esoteric. They don't do rituals that when you ask these practitioners why they're doing it, they're doing it because of the symbolism. They pick these places that are so important. Okay, so there you go. And I'm
said on a number of occasions that my personal belief is that we will never get out of the morass, the lunatic asylum that we're in, unless we are able to reappropriate that wisdom and reformulate it in a manner commensurate to our own kinds of understanding and our own kinds of, let's say, our own emotional or even astrological needs, as the case it may be.
My emotional and, what do you say, astrological needs?
Nothing could be more important than this. I mean, no amount of economic or environmental or ecological.
So that's the doctrine. At the end of it, it has some music, and I'll try to play a snippet of it, but it has some music, and that would give us a problem. But basically, a lot of this, we are divine, we're humans having a divine experience. That comes from Swallow the Lubit's work and one of his family members in the Initiate in a book that a lot of Comedics read, which is called Her Bach. Her Bach is kind of a fictional book of a person being initiated. So let me just stop this for a second, stop sharing my screen for a second. Uh, this is nice thoughts, but it's not grounded in the language, in the writing. So the esoterics, they avoid the writing. They avoid what the ancestors said. They talk over them. So let me see what I can bring in. Um, want to bring in something, uh, not something that I want to put the in the well, I'm going to put it in a debate, so I can't show it to you. Oh, but I can show you. What I can show you is one of the things that Swallow the Lubitz did was in his book, The Temple of Man, and I'll show you that. Temple of Man. I'm going to show you that. So, what do y'all think? What do you think? What's your thoughts? Okay, so let me share my screen. Oh, I know what else I want to share. After this, and then stop talking, and then I'll open up the lines for a few minutes. So, Swallow de Lubitz's work is the Temple of Man. And the Temple of Man was to look at uh, structures, temples, particularly the Luxor Temple, and to say that this, in fact, was building a man, right? And um, that may be, that there is. You can see it better here. Let's blow this up. There may be some uh, connections with uh, the holies of holies being the innermost chamber, like the mind, and it may be some good thinking about uh, the African geometry, but the problem is that they have refashioned what the African was talking about uh, to what Europeans think. Now we have great books like Breathing Flesh by Renaud, monumental work that talks about every aspect of the human body. And so Swallow de Lubitz uh, take these structures as per lower chambers into inner chambers. And some of that may be right, but what happens is that there is intellectual baggage that comes with that. So you take aspects of what the African actually did, and then you reimagine it in another domain or another space, right? So then it becomes only geometry, but no words. So if I go through all of these pictures that's here, what you're not going to see is any meta nature. That's what you're not going to see. You're not going to see meta nature. What you are going to see is uh, someone trying to get in front of the culture. And that is okay. So esoteric symbolism. So R.A. Swallow de Lubitz, esotericism and symbolism. He's not going to go and read the Medu Neter. He's going to look at the symbols. So when my opponent says uh, Ra, the sun, is literal, which was incorrect, and y'all went for that, y'all are something else. The sun is literal. Uh, it didn't say anything about the sun. It was just he put a picture of the sun and he said that's literal. I guess that's real. That's actual. But then this is divine allegory and mythology. But the difference is in this, is that my opponent focuses on the images and not the text. So none of his work is about, here's another one, sacred science. All of this sa.neter, but the king of pharaonic theocracy, right? So that's getting in front of African culture. Someone's interpreting African culture out of its context. Now, where's the other thing I wanted to show you? It says so. Esoteric. Oh, okay. For example, okay. So let me stop sharing my screen. So how do I know, Brother Reggie? You're lying. You're lying, Brother Reggie. You are lying. What's this? Asiatic? The pineal gland is the inner chamber of humans. Great interpretation. Can you give me a source? Thank you, right, sister. Thank you. Or brother with his lady's picture. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how you go about. sa.neter will be on tomorrow, and he will tell you if there is any space left. I can't tell you that. I am just presenting. I'm just presenting. I'm not part of the administration of none of that. I'm not putting on debate. I am defending Africa. So, okay, so here's this is what I want to show you. Brother Reggie, you've been lying to us. You just hating on the sa.neter tepi, right? You know, so much hate. No, I'm giving you analysis, right? I'm giving you analysis, and because I'm talking about a particular personality, right? Then it's hate. No, I'm doing a reveal in real time. What do you call it when you a reaction? I'm doing a reaction in real time. So I just want to show you this. Okay, so Brother Reggie, you are hating. He doesn't believe that. He believes in the ancient Egyptian stuff. He doesn't believe in swallow the lubits. He doesn't believe in that. He believes, let's take this down. Where's the comments? He believes what your teachers believe, right? Your teachers are his teachers. No, they're not. My teachers are not his teachers. He may use my teachers when he feels like it. Some of that you might see on the debate, but this is not my video. Let me just, it says the esoteric secrets of the Kemetic ancient Egyptian temple part 1. I would have loved to see part 2. So this is my opponent's. You see my opponent right here? This is his video. And in this video, he is going to talk about the pylons. He's going to do exactly what swallow the lubits does.
Be present. It is your gift.
Okay, let me see, make sure. Did y'all hear that? Press 1. Press 1. Press 1 if you heard it. Otherwise, I have to reshare it. Okay, I'm just going to reshare it. So I'm just going to reshare it. So this is a reveal, a reaction, right? I'm not making this up. I see that there is a big difference between what my teachers taught and what he taught. So here it goes right here. Esoteric Secrets of the Kemetic Ancient Egyptian Temple Part 1, right? So okay, so I heard this. Watch this. This is your gift. What's your gift? Let's go. Now here, he's talking to children, which to me is worse because he's infecting the mind of children.
I had a really rough week. I just got to go home and be depressed, by myself on a Friday night when I could have a lot of fun. I'm sorry, I'm going home. Sometimes we are not able to be present. And so the message here is be.
The message is be present. We're always present. You mean mentally not present? Okay, watch the switch.
Be present. It is your gift.
Being present is your gift. In the Nile Valley world, presence, there's yesterday, there's today, there's tomorrow. We are always present, never not present, ever.
Okay. Now I want to get back to what this student just said here about the Tekken. Each temple, okay, would have had a Tekken on either side, and the Tekken that were here aren't here anymore. Now, do you know that the ancient Kamites erected many Tekken, but most of them are no longer in Kemet anymore? Do you know they're all over the world? And in fact, when I do the tour of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, one of the greatest Tekken is right outside in Central Park. How many of you are from New York City? How many of you knew that there was a Tekken taken from here that was in New York City?
I didn't know that at the time.
Oh, so you knew that. She said she's being fair. She's like, I didn't know it before, but I know it now.
You taught us.
Right. So they've been taken all over the world. And so as you get to this site where it should be, there isn't one here. When we get to Luxor, there's going to be one there. You see there's one on either side. And there might have even been a Colossus on either side as well. You're going to see that. I'm not going to spend time talking about it now because when you get to Luxor, you'll see the Colossi. Okay? But keep.
Okay, so now they are Colossi. Okay. I wouldn't have said that, right? But he's free to say that. But let's see what else he says.
In mind how this would have looked during our ancient times. It would have been magnificent. And in fact, you would have even seen very large poles that would have been erected around this fluted area. And in each of those flags would have been waving, and it would have been a symbol for the divine force, which can be felt but cannot be seen, right?
The divine force that can be felt but not seen, and we have the neter symbol. I wonder what the rest of it says. Immediately, I do see the neter, but I see nefer, right? The good, right? And then I see a king. So from this, I'm saying I can, from the language, not from the symbolism, I could see the king as being the great neter. Interesting. So I didn't know that kings could be neters. I thought neters were only Ra and Tahuti and let me see, a set of Sor, Nut, Geb, Shu. I didn't know that kings could be neters. Wow. So if the king is a neter, I guess this is still just figurative. Let me just move on.
And so that's why the flag was a symbol of the divine force, or our creator.
Okay. So the divine force is our creator. The divine force is our creator. Interesting play of words, because force is, when I think of force, I immediately go to science. But when you play with words, and I know that there are four, how can I say, four real forces. But all of a sudden, the creator is a force. I see the switch, but I hope you see the switch. One is taking the neter symbol and making it a force, which he says in his last slogan and tagline. We're talking about how forces and energy work in the universe, and we've given them a name. But so he's moved away from maybe what he thinks is primitive, is ancestral worship, animism, as they called it, which is the real spirituality, animism, ancestor worship, into a symbol. And that symbol is a symbol of forces and energy.
And in fact, the symbol for Neter, or the symbol for the divine, or God as we might describe it, is a symbol that looks like a flag. And they say that they got it from the middle.
Okay, so here early on, 15, 16 years ago, he uses the word God. Let's hear.
It is a symbol that looks like a flag. And they say that they got it from the middle, from the center on the temples here. So as we go to Luxor, you're going to get to see an image that the ancient Kamites drew of the temple. And I want you to look for the flag. And then we're going to show you the glyph of.
So he's talking to children. So I'm not going to be harsh on him by saying we're going to look for the flag. Tahuti has come on and shown that it's an axe. And I can show that symbol had other meanings, but it's not the symbol that's important. It's what the symbol means in the African context. So let's close this out.
Sa.neter, and you're going to see the similarities. Okay, let's move in.
Okay, so this is African Genesis Institute. It's better to build a child than repair an adult. I don't have any problem with that. I do have a problem with the expression. I know sometimes it's much more difficult to talk to children because you want to give them the right thing. But that's my evidence that I don't have enough time to play on the debate to show that his thinking is esoteric. So with that said, there might be something else that I want to show that I pop up. But so when you ask yourselves, how come this chief priest, sa.neter, who's going to mop the floor with Brother Reggie, who's going to make Brother Reggie cry, right, at the debate, why is the sa.neter absent, right, in his conversation? Because when I use the sa.neter, I'm looking for what the ancestors actually said, right, in their own words. I'm not looking for interpretations. I guess that's why they left it in stone, so that we could see it. So let me see this one thing. So I'm opening up the line. It's 10:33, and I said I was only going to be on because I got some work to do. What does Sister Sakina Ra have to say? My sister, what does she have to say? The God issue of the netter is not my fight. I'm here to learn, for I know and understand three sides to the coin. So yes, I'm here for a win only. Okay, my sister, you know I love you. My sister Sakina Ra. That's why I put your quote up. So let me see. She's running on. Let's go to this channel. So this is now I have to. I'm being who I am, right? I am really being who I am, right? Because you've already said that it's hate. You've already said that it's okay. Why is so much hate, Brother Reggie? You've already said that, so you can't say no more about me, right? So since you've already done it, condemn me, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double down. So give me a second to find it. And okay, in the meantime, because I really only got about 15 more minutes, so let's open up the phone lines. And I want to talk about esoteric, metaphysical, invasion of Kemet. And is Brother Reggie hallucinating? So that's the question. Is Brother Reggie hallucinating? Is his hatred so much that he's hallucinating about the esoteric invasion of Nile Valley culture, and that the sa.neter helps us defeat that because we can let the ancestors speak? So I put in the link, and I'll be on for about 15 more minutes. So come on in. Who's out there? Anybody out there? This is your last chance to spit on Brother Reggie, right? Say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Say it's I'm so hateful. Say that I'm not ready. Say all the evil things that you say. I put the link in. Where's the link? Put the link in again. Come on in. Get your ticket to see the esoterical hymneter Teppy mop the floor with Brother Reggie. Right? Um, hopefully sa.neter will be there. Where is this video? Here. Okay, so anybody coming in? This is my last appearance, y'all. Right? Say all the nasty things that you say. Come on in. Say, yeah. Master Hercules, great. Say, what's the thing? Call me Beggy instead of Reggie. Instead of Brother Reggie, come in and call a 61-year-old man, right? He got real accomplishments in life, real work in life, right? Call me a, come in. Call me a Beggy. What else you want to call me? Say my degree's not working. Okay, Brother Hercules, since I don't have that much time, what's going on? How you doing?
Peace, Brother Reggie. How you feeling, brother? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, yo. Yeah, I know you don't have much time, so I just came on because I think we got to bring me on one day so we can just have like a sit down, like a deeper conversation on it, because it seems like your whole premise is in that I got from Brother Bonacci is that Elder Bonacci, sorry, that you guys want to separate the spirituality from Kemet, from them, and I don't see that, like when you the meta-neter and all that, it's supposed to be one. So that's why I'm like confused. But I know, you know what I'm saying? I think that's why I think we should like have a deeper conversation. You know what I'm saying, one day. And get into it and just get into that level.
Yeah, well, Baba Bonacci, Dr. Richetti, Infadici knows that spirit is an English word, and that we have to use it because there are so many people who use that word. But that word is not an African word. It comes from Latin spiritus.
Yes, sir.
It has nothing to do with African culture. Nothing. Zero. But we use it because that word invaded into our culture. And so what the Christians did was use their worldview. And at first, African spirituality was voodoo, only pagan, only less than the higher versions of Christianity. The clergy, anybody looks, spirituality means the clergy of the church. They're the real spirituality, the clergy of the church. So then they opened it up to convert us. Okay, we'll call it African spirituality, but it's still less than our Christian spirituality. So we still use it today. But what Baba Bonacci was saying is that the African specifically, right, looked at nature, right, specifically, and that the Christians and the other cultures, they specifically look at a one God, specifically, whether the major Western religions, as they're called, and so nature's secondary. The African looks at everything is classified as uh, natural, nature, things within nature, and the meta-neter is the words of the words of nature, the words of existence, and so it's the word existence is way more older in a sense, if we use this English word of existence, than it is for spirituality. Spirituality starts with the church. Existence starts with the most ancient African that was not even Homo sapiens sapien. Okay, so that's that.
Yes, sir.
So there is no conversation. There's war. There's simply war. If you're going to use this word spirituality, tell us the etymology and where it comes from. Just don't import it into Africa. So I have my brother Akira. How you doing? Sometimes in the chat, he's a Reggie hater. Uh, on the screen, he uh, how can I say he's definitely much more logical, and he's out of this country. He's in Oceania, right? He knows his culture, right? Uh, he certainly knows the Western culture, but he knows what the Western culture did to us. But somehow, when I speak, uh, I'm just trying to educate him a little bit more on the differences between myself and my opponent. Akira, what's going on?
Thanks, brother. Nah, everything's good. I was just yeah, I was just finished work up and then just seeing that you jumped on live, so I thought I'll jump on because I just want to first I'll just say in the comments I'm not trying to hate or anything. I'll just like express something I see, but regardless of all that,
Well, you're expressing that I hate somebody who I think who I you don't understand that I'm doing a reveal of the person, and I'm continuously doing a reveal. I just showed everybody he's esoteric. I'm going to show you more. He's esoteric. He's mystic. He's new age, right? So anything could be in Africa in Nile Valley culture. Now Kemetic yoga with no references, no sources, because you see a picture of a woman doing a dance. That's yoga. There's my brother.
definitely, definitely, and for the most part, like there's certain things. I sort of say neutral as well in terms of it because I think the reason why I'm more intrigued about this to debate is I hear where Jabari's coming from. And I think that the only reason I'd like side that way a little bit is not because of him per se, it's because of what Infodishi said or what I've read in like the Rikidi Amen book and stuff like that. Not to say that everything's gonna be all true, because I think this is why I liked back in the era of like early sa.neter days, we had the Amon Ra squad where it was like Ngozi and you and Ankh. You bring like I like to stay more factual based in terms of stuff because a lot of the things you guys say about like the Jabari and he's a comedic he says this himself, but when you sort of identify with similar things he does is very similar to what any other Christian would do. I think that's where I do align with using that per se, because I see what you're saying, but in saying that I sort of go back to my culture as a similar thing of like, we just went to Antarctica. We have this thing, Matariki. It's our New Year, just this weekend actually, and it's the lunar where we are. Our culture used to say it was the Seven Sisters and things like that, and then astronomy wise, we found out there was 9 stars in the cluster. So we're getting to a point where our researchers are going to Antarctica, and we're still creating new Maori words because all our language was all our stories were passed down orally. We didn't really write anything down. So I'm saying that to say I'm sort of very just interested because I see both sides, and I'm just saying I know I'm going to learn so much about it.
I don't think that you see both sides. I think that you might be a little. I don't definitely want to use a negative pejorative word, but
You can. That's right.
But you believe that Baba Bonacci and Dr. Richetti, do you believe that they agree with him?
So Infodici, I definitely know. For Bonacci, I've watched only the first one he's done, and Jabari jumped in. And from what I heard or what I got from it, I sort of align myself with him in a lot of ways because he don't use words like spirit, divine, and there's a very importance around using these words that didn't exist in the Medu Neter back in those things. He does have references or like not references, I won't say that. He identifies with what they're saying. That was the first one. Then the second one, I would say, because he started going against the other elder, Pata Saka or something like that, and they went against, like, he would say things like portals, and it was like portals, oh snap. So I sort of like, from my understanding, I think there was like a point where he did say he was agreeing with Jabari in terms of their energies and forces. I don't think he uses the same words per se as Jabari, but that's just my take from what I watched from it.
Well, that's good. Gonna let the ancestors and the elders speak tomorrow.
Nice. I look forward to
You're
it.
gonna find out that they that they don't. Infedici Jehudimas is respected as a expert in the Medu, and he's respected in uh, the Kemet KM.T
Yes.
as a master teacher and a hymneter. He's much more elder than the high priest, because the high priest is not even humble. He's the high priest. Uh, so hopefully I can find a clip or two of Infedici Jehudimas, who is a direct student of Dr. Riketi Amen. As a matter of fact, I took in New York in college, City College in New York, where she was teaching. Uh, 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 I took the first class of Medu, and then I had to finish my degree. So after that class, then the second class started again, and Infedici with the numbers started there, and then they continued and they became experts. Baba Banachi was taught by Dr. Theophilo Banga and Moot Riketi. We call her Moot Riketi. Uh, Also Dr. Riketi, but we call her Moot. And so he was taught by both of them and continues. The Himnecha Tepi, he didn't complete any Meta class that I know. Anytime that you talk about the Medu Necha, he says that in his shrine was is he has an expert in his shrine that I don't think is in his shrine anymore. So he doesn't have an expert Medu Necha person in his shrine, and so he always defers to that person. Uh, and so that's it. So no, you're gonna find out if you watch it. You're gonna find out that hopefully we can get some words from some of the elders to see if they might use the same terms but in a different way. So because
Yeah.
I'm closing soon, I'm definitely going to be off at 11. I have
Can
Brother
I just
Harwin.
ask one more? Sorry, can I just ask one more? Because I'm in New Zealand now. I'm about to go pay for the ticket. So I'll just click the link because I'm not too sure how it would work from my end in terms of New Zealand. I just click the link and it will just go through like PayPal,
Well,
or would it work if I'm buying it from New Zealand?
yeah. See, the problem is if you don't have Cash App, that you have to talk to sa.neter. If it rejects, then you have to find another payment, right? That he
Yeah.
accepts. I'm not into that, right?
No,
I,
sweet
I,
as all good.
okay,
No, I
so that
appreciate it, brother.
but so talk to him tomorrow. He'll be on. Um, and it's a pleasure talking to you, having a reasonable conversation outside the chat, because the chat is a lot of hatred. but but I'm always willing to talk, and I'm transparent. Brother Harwin, what's going on?
What's up, brother Reggie?
My good brother. So what do you think about this esoteric mystic? How can alchemy invasion of Kemet?
It's the complete antithesis of what Kemet is. You hit on it when you was spoken about animism. How the
Mhm.
ancestors really, the real practices was what we're calling animism anyway today. And I
But
think
yeah,
you did a good job showing the dichotomy.
I got another video that I'm gonna pull up that's gonna show you the difference. That ends the point. We think differently. Those that read the Meta, so that includes you. So one thing that they hate about you, Brother Harwin, is that you can read the text. You can read the text as good as some of the people who uh, you can read the text better than some of the people who call themselves the highest priest, but they won't let you get at them to expose it, right? I could pull up a text, and I'm amazed that someone like you, right, can actually do as well, and sometimes on the spot better than some people that come on, right? You're not gasping for aspirin, air and aspirin. You attack it like somebody who has studied the meta and they hate that, Harwin. They hate that, right? And so all I can do is encourage you uh, to be better because you're the future. But they hate that. You talk about the hate against Harwin. Harwin is getting hate from the top down, right? I get parallel hate. Harwin gets the hate top down just because the way that you got into the culture is through Nuwabiism. But a lot of people got into the culture, right? The only difference is you got in the culture not through Dr. York, but by brothership, by people who wanted to teach you and train you and say, here, look here, little dude, come to my house. Let me give you some information, and I want you to research to see if I'm right. You got the information that way. That's organic, right? You wasn't part of the stuff that they are trying to criminalize you on. And you know, me and Chuck Morgan, we have a good relationship, and I, I, I always say encourage the youth, right? Encourage, you're not the youth, but encourage younger people, right? The attacks has to be if you're absolutely wrong. The attacks can't be from who, where you started or who you associated with. The attacks can't start there. It has to attack. The attack has to start on your information. The only thing that you ever did was challenge the great Himnecha Tepe on whether or not uh, Nuwabiism has a is a topament, right? That you and so instead of you defeating that person who didn't have that much information on it, they brought in my good brother Chuck Morgan, and now it's turned into something else where you're a villain just like me, bro. Right? We got a lot of villains that never did nothing. Harwin never did nothing. Brother Reggie didn't do anything. Brother La didn't do anything. You're gonna crucify Brother La because he's a Muslim? Man, most of you better. Most of you that say those things about my good brother La. Uh, let me just say this plainly. You should be glad that he's a Muslim. You should be really glad that he follows the deen. You should be very glad that his emotions are always controlled. You should be glad, right? You should be glad. But because I know Brother La a little bit differently than y'all, right? I know a brother who just doesn't take no, there's some disrespect he does not take at all under any circumstances. And so y'all can follow this YouTube BS. I'm saying leave my brother La alone. Leave Harwin alone, right? Leave these brothers alone, bro. Y'all think these YouTube people, YouTube personalities, no, they're fathers, right? Their sons, right? You know, their family members, their community people. Don't get into this YouTube stuff about you think you know people. So it's 10:55 on this episode of Glazing. What am I supposed to do? I got a debate.
Yes,
What
sir.
am I supposed to do?
Get ready for the
Brother Reggie, you doing the hating? No, I'm doing the criticizing. I'm being I'm being a skeptic, right? Prince, you can purchase a ticket if there's any mods. I need a mod that has the Zoom link. If you could purchase a ticket. Any mods in here that got the Zoom link? They can find the Zoom link. Okay, so as we close, I'm gonna share this screen. I want to say, what the F is this, yo? Like, this is what I see, bro. If I don't see it, I can't comment on it. But, bro, if I see it, yo, I'm going to comment on it. Yo, Harwin, yo, tell me to stop the video when you want on this. Right?
Um,
Wait, watch this.
us for our summer solstice celebration. It is always amazing when the community gathers for our sacred days. And obviously,
what sacred day is it in Kemet? I know that he's in New York. I'm in New York. What sacred day is it? What's the term?
the summer solstice is one of the most sacred days. There
are a lot of festivals
of them in the year, the equinoxes and the solstices. I'm going to
so the summer
tell you,
solstices, the solstices,
while we're complaining about the
solstices in the Nile Valley, there are many festivals. A lot of their festivals have to deal with the Urutu, right? The Happy River. It has to do with kingships. It has to do with the sacred cattle and other sacred animals. There are a lot of festivals, right? So the summer solstice is supposed to be the most sacred in Kemet. No, I disagree.
The heat is hot out here. Lugging the stuff into the park was not easy. The reality is we're of our, we are here to help you bring in this new period, the summer in the process.
We're going to bring in the summer. So the summer is more important than the natural. Let's go.
So with that, as we always begin, we should begin with the opening. But I'm going to do something before that. We're at a slightly awkward period, so there's two of us here.
So normally they open up with the opening of the way, but he's going to do something special for us. Let's see what he's going to do special for us.
Be the opportunity to purify and to purify. Do you want to go around? Yeah.
I think we should go around.
Okay. Do you want to do the purification on tech? Is what you're saying. You see, that Ames wants us to do something a bit more complex, and we should. Why shouldn't we? So let us begin.
Show me a stele in Kemet, right, where they are, I know they do sensing, right? Sa.neters, which is sensing, but normally it's to a human being. It's not to a, or it's to a neter in the form of a statue or in a shrine, but it's usually to a neter. But today it's not to a neter, it's to this. Watch this, family. The tourists or the tourists had to get out of the way of this because they mean business, yo. Whatever they're doing is some serious business, walking around one techno and blessing it.
Is any of this literal?
Everything that he does is literal. Everything that he does is actual, real, and literal. Everything that he does in his shrine, but Kemet is not. The Neteru are not literal, but everything that he does is literal. He's in control of what's being literal. That's how we're having a debate. Okay, so you can find it on his page, the Shrine of Ma'at, and he just walked around a techno, but he didn't read anything. He didn't read the king's name. So it's very important in that culture that you read the king's name or the ruler's name, right? He doesn't do that. What he does is he blesses the symbol. Okay. Okay, so this says, what Jabari doing wrong here? The man is a priest. That's what they do. That's the problem. Stop hating. No, that's not what the priests do. That's not what the priests do. In ancient Kemet, that's what the New Age priests do. You got any evidence? You can show me. You can show me where they are walking around doing this ceremony. Okay, let's go.
And for you.
Now, mind you, this looks very Catholic to me. Anybody seen this in the Catholic Church? But he says that Kemet stole, the Catholics, the Christians stole from Kemet, but he also says that the Neteru aren't real and actual. So what is there to steal? But this looks very Catholic to me. I've seen this in the Catholic Church. So let me read this. This all stems from y'all saying that the Bible isn't literal, and we said, but I thought the Bible copied Kemet. That means Kemet isn't literal, and Jabari had no choice but to agree. The You got to be careful. This word literal is not often used. It's not often used. It's just being used in its last period. But the people can look at the truth of the Bible and what is not true. But the word literal is a different meaning at all, right? It's just a different meaning. So the believers of the Bible believe that the Bible is literal, right? Those people outside of the Bible will say that the stories that they in the Bible are not true. But the people inside, so there's the people inside and there's the people outside. Well, so we have these conversations, and I don't have a problem with looking at to see the ancient roots of Christianity. I don't have a problem with that, and I think that once information is out there, everybody uses it. Some things are misappropriate. Or appropriated without sources, right? So there is some issue of not giving source and credit. So there is some issues of that, but Christianity has to borrow from the Hebrews, right? And they do the same thing with the Hebrews. They come in and reinterpret what the Hebrews say, right? Christianity steals more from or borrows more from the Hebrews. The Hebrews, they have a interesting culture because the Assyrians captured the northern kingdom of Israel, and the Babylonians captured the southern kingdom of Judea. The Israel population just disappeared from the planet, but they draw a relationship to an ancient Israel, which they say encompasses Judah. But when they come out of Babylon from the Persian fight, then they come back with some new global ideas. So now they come back with a square script. They come back with a square script that's not paleo, right? Looks like, but not like. And so when the Christian period comes, they borrow all of this, right? So much so that Jesus is reading the Septuagint, right? We know that he's reading the Septuagint. So he's not reading the Septuagint means that Christ spoke Aramaic, He may have spoken some Hebrew. That's not proven. And he might have spoken, he had to speak some Greek if he's pulling from the Septuagint, right? Um, so those are the things that, so the answer to this is uh, a lot of these arguments that we have, some of those arguments are disingenuous because this person says that the Neteru, who its closest relationship is really nature and existence, but can be cosmic creators, right? They are not actual, according to a Kemetic priest. I have never heard anything like that before in my life, right? A Kemetic priest attacking Kemet on the Netchers, making them non-literal. I have never heard anything like that, right? So there you go. So now let's say, okay, so let's close this out.
I'm trying to go around. Oh, you gotta practice that head go around. You gotta practice.
Was it woe or is it onk or is that the same thing? Let me just go back. I ain't here. Okay. All right, here we go. Well, he got the spirit already. He got the spirit on the back of his head. I know that hurt, right? There you go. So with that said, I have other videos that I can play for reaction, but I want you to see, have an idea of what my criticism is. I'm just simply saying that this is not Kemet. This is New Age. This is metaphysical. This is it's close to alchemy. It's esoteric. Nobody read any meta nature. That's my gripe. So should we now not need the meta nature?
Shouldn't that be important? Don't
Yeah,
words carry
that'd
power?
be important, right? Debating where the Neteru is the negative half of not debating whether Neteru figurative, the affirmative half two people at Jabari Sase, Reggie maybe with degrees should know this. Oh, well, what you didn't say, Babylon Don, my good brother Babylon Don, is the what part of the Neteru is figurative? I would argue that I am going to argue that the Neteru are not figurative, right? Um, I'm going to use another word instead of figurative. Come to the debate, see if I'm right,
Mm.
right? So that calling it figurative is, I guess, people who can't read the language. So everything is a symbol, right? So if you don't know the language, like Harwin would tell you, then you're going to be very confused because you don't know the language, right? So if you know the language, then you read the language. You don't see it as a figure. You actually see it either as a word or not. If you look at a picture of a Neteru or a Neter, let's say Ra or Raharati, uh, we see it as words, titles, names, right? In reference to something real, something actual in their belief. Maybe
Yeah,
not. Say what?
so yeah, it has agency.
It has agency. It's just not a symbol. But if you're an esoteric person, then you're going to hide the fact, especially when you can't read the meta nature. You're a lower beginner. You're going to hide the fact that you can't read it. You don't know what's going on, right? And so, okay, so it's 11:11. I have some work to do because I need to tighten down my third round. I'm going to tell the people who are watching, uh, I'm not going to be figurative. what I mean by that is that I'm not going to put up pretty pictures and talk around it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say what I have researched, who the source of that research is, what they say about it, right? What they say about the terms, right? I am going to do that. So I am going to be who I am, right? I'm not going to be theatrical. I'm going to be scholastic. I'm going to be academic, and I'm going to be close to letting the African ancestors speak. My opponent is going to put up pictures like the sun and Raharati and say that's not literal, right? The sun is literal. Ra is not literal. And I'm going to say to him, but you're a Kemetic priest. You're a high Kemetic priest. So when you say what you say, you're talking in vague language, right? You don't want to nail it down. So that's why I say he never wanted to debate with the Hebrews, the Christians, the Israelites, because he never defines his terms. He acts like he owns the terms. So with that said,
You know he's gonna say there isn't a literal man with a falcon head.
of course. Okay, but who says it was? See, who says it was? Huh?
Exactly.
Who says it was? He's saying that it is. That's what he sees. That's a lower level. That's a very low level analysis of it, right? So come to the debate. Uh, I wonder who will win. The information will win. Miss Peaches, I like that name. Miss Peaches Starchild. Somehow I like that name, right? Who will win? The information will win. I just showed y'all, family. This guy swallowed the lupus. Brother Reggie doesn't consider him important. Brother Reggie considers him fringe, right? Just one European with great ideas that the Western championed at a time when they wanted to understand what the hidden secrets of what they call ancient Egypt was, right? So the hidden secrets. Well, before we get to the hidden secrets, shouldn't we know just what's plain? Shouldn't we know just what's plain before we get into the hidden stuff? Why is the hidden stuff so much more important when people got to eat, right? When people got to raise their children, when people got to fight for their land, right? Why is the secret stuff so much more important? So that's what you are. That's what we will be talking about. Why so secret? Why so hidden? And who controls Harwin? Who controls the hiddenness? Who controls the secrets? That's
So
what.
is it literal?
Yeah, it's a literal. So with that said, I want to thank you all for coming.
All right, brother Reggie.
I want
Peace
to
out, brother Reggie.
what's Miss Peaches says, both for excellent scholars. Miss Peaches, um, we use that word scholars very loosely. Scholars mean that you write, right? Scholars mean that you have written and accepted work, right? I do have a journal article. I do have articles, right? Uh, I have those things that someone could say that I am a good researcher and I have printed work. I do have a journal article in a peer-reviewed journal. My opponent does not have that. My opponent has YouTube videos, just like we just saw. He has debates on sa.neter's platform. Uh, he speaks well. He does have a position as a professor for now, right? Um, for now. Um, but scholarship is different. Scholarship is, how do you define your terms? Where do you define those terms in your writing? What research do you in fact do, right? And if you can get others to comment on your work, that's scholarship. We use words like spirituality, scholarship, um, the divine. We use these words very, very loosely, right? Sometimes to a point where they don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. Um, so you could call yourself anything. Like you could call yourself a chief priest. Chief priest. You can call yourself a living God. You can call yourself any of those things, and you might find some people to accept it. But that's not the truth. So join us Saturday, trying to get some rest, get my energy up, because I got a lot of reading to do, and all I can just do is put in my research. So after the debate, you go through Brother Reggie's research, right? You can have an emotional win. You think someone got a gotcha point. Yeah, in the YouTube, the conscious community debate, you can lose a debate on gotcha points, but you can also lose a debate that where you are right about something because you hit your hand. Like, for example, my good brother Inky, who I owe a lot of the points that I'm talking to brother Inky, right? Because brother Inky is the one who actually exposed the Himnecher Tepi, right? And said that, and then when after that debate, I thought there were points still kind of open. So then I said, well, I will do it differently because I know KM.T and I know that he's kinetic, and I'm uh, let's say beginner intermediate in the Medu Nature. I've read many texts. I've been around longer. So I know that the elders disagree with him. Wait, press one if you believe the elders agree with I'm going to my opponent. Press one if you believe that the Kemet elders uh, that they agree with the Himnecher Tepi. Press one. I want to see who says that. Yeah, Babylon. That Himnecher Tepi is cool as F. So cool. But he don't believe that the Netchers are actual. So it's cool as F, right? But he don't believe that the Netchers are actual, right? Press one again if you believe that the elders agree with the Himnecher Chepi. Uh, stop. I'm having a debate. Why am I not going to talk about my opponent? Damn. Damn. Why am I not going to talk about my opponent? You think that's. I have a debate. This is my last appearance. What am I supposed to talk about? I'm talking about really not him because I'm not talking about anything personally about him. I'm talking about a disagreement in doctrine, a disagreement in belief. Stop that, yo. Stop that. Because I disagree with his information, I'm talking about him. I'm talking about what he says. Yeah, it's about the info. Didn't I give you info tonight? See, that's Jabariism and the Jabarianites. They're trying to fool you to think that I am talking about him. Who else can I, what can else can I do when he's the object of the message? Damn. My rebuttal was My rebuttal, this is a good one. My rebuttal was, but Jesus is historical and Osir is not. Well, take that to Mr. Osaze, because he doesn't believe that Jesus is historical and literal. That's not my issue. Now about Osir, right? Osir is definitely a title. It's a title. It's a title. It has a story around it, right? That it does. It has a story around Osir. The by the pyramid text just mentions Osir, but relates him to Sekir, Soker, right? And so Osir came much later, and the stories around Osir uh, became gradually more important when they wanted to deal or canonize, because that's what it was, uh, what happens in the afterlife. But nobody should be talking about Osir until your end. Your daily life, you really shouldn't be talking about Osir. You should be talking about nature. Osir is only when you are, how can I say, becoming Makeru. But they want to take that story and symbolize it and make it your everyday reality, like you're thinking about death every day. No, you're thinking about your children, you're thinking about your parents, you're thinking about your mate, right? You're thinking about your community, you're thinking about what's happening to your people. You are not thinking about Osir. You should not be thinking about Osir. You should be thinking about staying in existence. So, with that said, bro, fix your glasses. Why are you looking at me like that? Let me see. Let me see. That's the real Ramadan. Fix my glasses. Really? That's all you can say? You got anything more intelligent to say? I'm not gonna block you. Normally, I would, but I want to put the energy on you. I want to put the energy on you. Is that how far your mind goes? You want to talk about anything else? You want to talk about my teeth? You want to talk about my hair growth? You want to talk about my Brunson hat? You want to talk about my skin color? You want to talk about my nose? You're weird. You're weird. These are reading glasses. I use them a lot, so they might not be adjusted. But really, is that all? See, you should be thinking about something else. Is that how you go through life? Right? I'm like, is that what you want to give to the public? That's what you want to represent you? That's correct, Babylon, Don, right? I just showed you he's walking around blessing some daggone stolen artifact, not reading the names, not reading any of the meta nature that's surviving. He's not even showing it. He's more worried about the theatrics of walking around and blessing something that was stolen, that has nothing to do with black lives, has nothing to do with, and that's supposed to make him important. Watcher, thank you so much. Uh, yep. You don't have to be agreeable. You just don't have to be disrespectful. That's all. So with that said, I want to say thank you for your time. There's no title to win, but wait. Talk with Lashley, sister. What I'm just trying to do as a 61-year-old man is to save our community from um, esoteric occultism that has nothing to do with our people, with culture leaders or cult leaders that have now not a shrine, a physical shrine, has an online shrine, right? That you can pay your money to. And you pay a lot of money to be a part of his organization, by the way. A lot of money. Pay a lot of money. And people say, oh, I'm pocket watching. Well, we got schools that ain't built. Maybe somebody should have said something about that earlier and continuously. We have other things that are not built, and we have preachers with planes and helicopters, right? That you should buy this preacher a plane or a helicopter or a Maybach mansion. No, I'm against that when black people are suffering. So, Sister Lachey, all I'm just trying to do is give the people some information in this little narrow topic about Kemet that really, at the end of the day, doesn't save black people's lives. However, I'm not trying to make it more important that people join something that's not real and not actual. From his mouth, his boca. It's not real and not actual. So if it's not real and actual, why should you pay attention to it? If I study Nile Valley culture for as long as I did, that's because I cared about the people, the ancient people, right? I cared the fact that Europe dismissed us. That's what I care about. And I care about that we have other great civilizations that I also study, right? And I want to thank Nana Sudo. I don't know where he is tonight, but he used the one. He's a chief linguist of an African American Ashanti chief that he has to go to Ghana to be trained, that he believes in their bosom, and him and his organization, they pay attention to some of the things that I say because the Neteru became the abosom. It became elements of Ife tradition. It became elements of the Dogon tradition. It became part of elements of the Congo tradition, right? If the Congo tradition did not birth Kemet, right? So there is an interconnectedness of these concepts before it's turned into symbols and non-literal things, because when it does, then we lose that. Don't you see there's a reason once we found out that it was an African civilization, the attacks came. So it's interesting that someone calling them a chief priestess of this tradition will attack the very structure that the whole civilization stands on. So with that said, I think I've had enough. What's Brian talking about? You know, Dr. Ben says it can't be spoken. Come on, Reggie. Dr. Clark never endorsed it. Brian, when did I say it was spoken? When did I say that? Why, my good brother Brian, why are you creating arguments that ain't there? It's transliterations. Some of those transliterations, like Nute, tell us that it's related to nature. But I'm not speaking it. I'm reading it. When you can read language, that means you're trained. Who's speaking it? I don't speak it. They speak it. Right? If you go back to some of their shows, they speak it. I don't speak it. When I speak a transliteration, it's trying to help you understand that there's a glyph, and then there's a sound correspondence, which is a word, and that there's a dictionary item associated to it. That's all. Think about that, Reggie. You say they're your teachers. I thought about it, so I just responded. So with that said, I'm going to put up the banner, the media, and I'm going to close. Give me a second. And I want to thank you all for coming, and I'm just got to gather some energy to finish some of the work that I have to do, and go in and fight for what the ancestors said. So thank you so much. And where is my song? And again, I want to thank Nana Asudo for the track, for the song. I really so appreciate him. And so we are leaving. And if anybody wants to support your brother, right? If you can't make it to the debate, right? You want to see the debate later? Support Brother Reggie work. You're supporting my work, right? So when I take a bite of a meal or something like that, or I have to pay for a book or anything like that, it's from you. I do thank you. I thank you. So it's.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Doctor, brother, it's just a name. What matters is the fire, the heart that aim. You walk with wisdom, steady and true. A living lesson in all that you do. You study the giants, stood on the ground. Benny, Clark, and Jeffries, the wisdom you found. You read the past like a lantern's glow. Then turn that light so the young ones know. Dr. Reggie, we celebrate you. A master teacher, shining through. Living treasure, deep and kind. You lift the people, mind by mind. Respect to the elder, strong and free. You are a beacon for the world to see. In history, religion, culture too. You uncover truth and make it new. A researcher sharp with a patient hand, building bridges across the land. You speak with honor, calm and clear, and every room leans in to hear. You carry knowledge like a well-worn flame, passing it onward in your name. Dr. Reggie, we celebrate you. A master teacher, shining through. Living treasure, deep and kind. You lift the people, mind by mind. Dr. Reggie, hear the praise. Your legacy lives in 1,000 ways. Respect to the elder, strong and free. You are a beacon for the world to see. Not the title, but the way you live, the wisdom you embody, the care you give. You teach with grace, you lead with sight, turning all truths into guiding light.
Brother Born Dog just posted the link for the online debate. Thank you, Brother Born Dog. Thank you so much. Finally, Ahmad came in and posted it. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night and be safe. I'll see some of you on Saturday. Thank you so much, Brother Born Dog. Peace.